On in Bojo, Mr. McLeod Mondaya, and today will be the last lesson in our VTI unit. And today's lesson will be on VTI B form negative phrases. So negative, subordinate, or dependent clauses. Excuse me. So B form or dependent clause. Let's review that. So A form is an independent clause that makes sense on its own. It doesn't need any extra information to make sense. For example, John is fixing the box. B form is a dependent clause that requires more information to make sense. For example, when John is fixing the box, and then that's the information that it relies on to make sense. B form is inflected purely with suffixes that attach to the end of our verbs. That's our VTI words for this unit. So we're just attaching suffixes to the end of our VTI words. Very much the same as the last lesson, and very similar to our VAI unit for some of our verbs there. Just like in our previous lesson, how A form has both positive and negative inflections, same goes with B form inflection suffixes. So last lesson we learned about the positive B form suffixes. Today's lesson will be on the negative. For our B form inflections, we usually have words that trigger a B form inflection. Just like our VII and VAI negative B form inflections, we do not use the word gawin in our phrases today. As previously said, we are just covering 7 of the 9 Ojibwe pronouns / persons. These are the ones I think will be the most common in your speeches, and these are the ones I decided to cover for you guys. Less work for you guys. Just like in our previous lesson where we did not have additional suffixes, if the inanimate object is pluralized, same goes for today's lesson. Just pluralize the pronoun I to ni and the nouns as necessary. So B form grammar patterns we'll be using. So just like in our last lesson, we had we'll have grammar patterns on this side here, and then we'll have some examples here. These are all color coded as well. So onde plus B form means where. So here we have onde gi pug dot nene isin. Where did the man throw the rock? So onde is where. Gi is past tense, so did. Pug don is throw, and it's in green there. This is our third person marker, and then nene, the man, isin, the rock. On to wenje plus B form means why, and as always, when you see a dash after in our grammar patterns, that means the verb immediately follows after that dash. So we got on to wenje pug dot nene sin. Why is the man throwing the rock? And it's all color coded there for you guys. Next we have onwe plus B form means even though. So onwe pug dot nene isin means even though the man is throwing the rock. Apegish plus B form means I wish. So apegish gi pug dot nene isin means I wish the man threw the rock. And you can see how in English sometimes our verbs, when they change tenses, it changes the word a little bit. So past tense affects the verb on the inside. Gishbin plus B form means if. So gishbin pug dot nene isin, if the man throws the rock. All right. So moving on, you can find a lot of these grammar patterns in our dictionary if you can't remember what they mean or how to say them. All right. So j plus B form means to or so. So again, there's a dash there, meaning that the verb follows right after j. Just like in our example, jigshke pug dot nene sin. So the man can throw the rock. So shke is our preverb, meaning can or able to, and it's highlighted in light blue here and underlined. And this one's italicized as well. Jibwa plus B form means before. So Jibwa pug dot nine isin, before the man throws the rock. Megwa plus B form means while. Megwa pug dot nine isin, while the man throws the rock. Naj plus B form means until. Naj pug dot nine isin means until the man throws the rock. And lastly, P plus B form means when. P pug dot nine isin, when the man throws the rock. So those are all color coded there for you. And again, you can find a lot of these grammar patterns in the dictionary. Just got to know how to find them. A lot of these are adverbs. Keep in mind. So this should be negative. This should say negative up here, guys. I'm sorry about that. So negative paradigms for VTI 1 and VTI 4 words. So we're using Jea Kun and Yan. So Jea Kun is our VTI word. It's got that signature AN ending. And VTI 4 has the signature AA ending. So we're going to have our inflection patterns over here and examples over here. So first person singular, tense if it's there, then a verb, and then our negative suffixes zwan. So our first example here, Gishpen gi jea kwan zwan im kuk. Gishpen gi jea kwan zwan im kuk. If I did not open the box. So tense marker doesn't always have to be there, but it is for this one to make it past tense. So gishpen means if. Gi past tense did. Jea kwan is open. Zwan makes it I and also negative at the same time. And im kuk means the box. So moving on to our VTI 4 example, just following the same thing. So these ends haven't been grayed, so we keep them. Gishpen yan zwan im kuk. If I do not have the box. So you can see in green there is present tense and have. Zwan is also I and not. Gishpen if im kuk the box. Moving on to our second person singular example. Second person singular, verb, and then instead of zwan, we're saying zuan. So it's short A ending. So gishpen wi jea kwan zwan im kuk. Gishpen wi jea kwan zwan im kuk. Sorry about that. If you do not want to open the box. So gishpen if we is our indefinite future tense, meaning want to. Jea kwan present tense, or yeah, I guess so. Open. Zwan is you and not simultaneously. It's the negative you. And im kuk means the box. And then our third person singular. Oh, sorry. VTI 4. Gishpen wi yan zwan im kuk. If you do not want to have the box. So again, same pattern as our VTI 1s. Keeping yen and adding the suffix. Gishpen, if we, future tense, indefinite future tense, want to. Yan is have. Zwan is you and not. And im kuk means the box. Sorry about the sniffles. And moving on to our third person singular finally. So third person singular, instead of zwan or zwan at the end, we're going to use zig. All right. So gishpen jea kwan zig nene nim kakan. Gishpen jea kwan zig nene nim kakan. If the man is not opening the boxes. So we can see here that when we pluralize the inanimate noun, the verb doesn't have a suffix that we need to add to it. So it's one less thing to worry about. So if the man is not opening the boxes, gishpin. If Jaya Kwan is opening zig, he or she is not. Nene, the man. Nim kakan, the boxes. In our VTI 4 example, gishpin yan zig nene nim kakan. Gishpin yan zig nene nim kakan. If the man does not have the boxes. So same pattern as the VTI ones. This would be a good time to screenshot this for your notes. All right, let's move on. So again, I should have put negative, but it slipped. Negative B form paradigms for VTI 1 and 4 words, Jayakwan and Yan. So we're going to do the positive ones. I think we're going to do the we's right now, actually. So we have first person plural. So instead of zwan at the end, we're going to say zwang. It's a slight difference, but it's got that Beller consonant ending. So if we do not open the box, so I'm going to demonstrate how to do this, and then I'll challenge you guys to do the rest of them. So gishpin, if, as present tense, so go to the verb. Jaya kwan zwang imkuk. Gishpin jaya kwan zwang imkuk. Right there. Gishpin jaya kwan zwang imkuk. Next one here. If we do not have the box. So I'll give you a few seconds to come up with that one on your own. Sorry about that. All right. So let's take this one up. So your answer should be Gishpin yan zwang im kuk. Gishpin yan zwang im kuk. Moving on to the 2-to-1 person here. So instead of zwang at the end, we're using zwang. So if we all do not open the box. If we all do not open the box. I'll give you a few seconds. Come up with that one on your own. We're not dropping anything. We're just putting everything in the right order here. So gishpin for if, and then the verb, the suffix, and then your inanimate stuff. All right, let's take this up. So if we all do not open the box, your answer should be Gishpin jaya kwan zwang, or jaya kwan zwang nim kakan. Oh, it should be imkuk, because that's singular and this is pluralized, my bad. All right, next one. If we all do not have the box. So my apologies if the inanimate stuff is pluralized again. I'll give you a few seconds to translate this one. All right, let's take this up. Hopefully the noun wasn't pluralized and matches the English. So your answer should be, and of course it was pluralized, Gishpin yan zwang. Oh, and the wrong suffix. I'm really sorry, guys. There should be a single A here, and there should be I and then imkuk. Gishpin yan zwang imkuk. All right. So moving on to our second person plural and third person plural examples. So on this one, we're just adding zweg at the end, not swag, zweg. So if you all do not want to open the box. So want to is our indefinite future tense. So that goes in front of the verb in this formula. So we go ich bin, we, ja kun zweg, and then the word for the box, im kuk. So let's see if I'm correct. Ich bin, we, ja kun zweg, im kuk. All right, moving on to our VTI 4 example. If you all do not want to open the box. So really, you're just repeating what I said here, but you're replacing ja kun with Jan, which is right here. Ich bin, we Jan zweg, im kuk. All right, third person plural. So third person plural, if there's a tense and then a verb and then zqua, zqua. So if the men are opening the boxes. I'll give you a few seconds. Come up with this one on your own. Oh, this one should be negative. So if the men are not opening the boxes. All right, let's take it up now. So ich bin ja kun squa ninwak nimkakan. So we didn't add anything to the end of our verb because just like the singular or plural doesn't affect it. Ich bin ja kun squa ninwak nimkakan. So if the men do not have the boxes, again, I'm sorry, I should have been a little bit more thorough with this. So again, pretty much the same as this one here. We're just replacing ja kun with Jan. All right, let's take this up. So we should have ich bin Jan squa ninwak nimkakan. Ich bin Jan squa ninwak nimkakan. All right, moving on. All right, so now we're doing negative, again, B form of paradigms for VTI 2 and 3 words. So we're using pug don and not in, but if you'll notice, the N and IN here have been grayed, so we're probably going to get rid of those. So again, we're not using zwan, but we're using swan for our negative suffix. So this is what we're going to replace our N and INs with. Ich bin gi pug do swan im kuk. Ich bin gi pug do swan im kuk. If I did not throw the box. So ich bin if, gi did, past tense, pug do throw, swan, it's simultaneously I and negative, im kuk, the box. And then ich bin not swan im kuk, if I do not fetch the box. So this one didn't have a plural or a tense marker, so it's present tense if I do not fetch the box. Moving on to second person singular. Instead of using swan, we're using swan. Ich bin wie pug do swan im kuk. Ich bin wie pug do swan im kuk. If you do not want to throw the box. So gishben, if we, indefinite future tense, meaning want to. Pugdo, throw. Swan is you and the negative. And imkuk, the box. Next, gishben we nod swan imkuk. Gishben we nod swan imkuk. If you do not want to fetch the box. So gishben, if we want to nod in or nod, fetch. Swan is you and the negative. Imkuk, the box. Third person singular here. Just if there's a tense and then a verb and then sig. So gishben pugdo sig nine nimkakan. If the man is not throwing the boxes. So gishben means if. Pugdo, throwing. Sig is third person negative. Nene, the man. Nimkakan, the boxes. So we got gishben nod sig nene nimkakan. Gishben nod sig nene nimkakan. If the man does not fetch the boxes. And so we got gishben, if, nod in, fetch. Sig means third person, she or he, and not. Nene is our third person, the man. Nimkakan, the boxes. All right, so negative. We're moving into the plural pronouns. So instead of swan, we're using swang at the end of our verbs. So if we do not throw the boxes, I'm going to give you a few seconds, or I'm going to demonstrate how to do that, and then you guys can translate the rest. So we got if, gishben, no tense marker, so it's verb, pugdo, and then our suffix swang. So gishben, pugdo, swang. The boxes, nimkakan. Gishben, pugdo, swang, nimkakan. So if we do not fetch the box. So this one's singular now. So I'm going to give you a chance to translate this one on your own. All right. So your translation should be Gishben nod swang im kuk. Gishben nod swang im kuk. Next we're doing the 2-to-1, and instead of using swan or swang, we're using swung. So if we all do not throw the box. So again, we're doing singular here. I'll give you a chance to translate on your own. right, so your translation should be Gishben pugdo swung im kuk. Moving on to our VTI 3. Oh my god, this should say 2 and 3 as well, sorry. So if we all do not have the box, how do we say that? Or not have, it should be fetch. If we all do not fetch the box. And I bet you this one's pluralized as well. So our translation should be Gishpin nod swang nim kakun. Of course it's pluralized. All right, so those are our we's. Now we're moving on to second person plural and third person plural. So instead of, so our negative suffix is swag, swag. So if you all do not want to throw the box, how do we say that? All right. So your translation should be Gishpen we pugdo swag im kuk. Gishpen we pugdo swag im kuk. All right, moving on to our VTI 3. If you all do not want to fetch the box. So how would we say that? All right, so your translation should be Gishbin we nod swag im kuk. Gishbin we nod swag im kuk. So we're just replacing the grade N and IN with our suffixes. Third person plural, instead of squaw, we're using squaw. So it's a little less aggressive. So if the men did not throw the boxes, so we're going into past tense now. Past tense is gi. How will we translate this sentence? So gi is your tense marker, then your verb, and then the suffix. All right, so your translation should be Gishpengi pugdo squaw ninwak nimkakan. Gishpengi pugdo squaw ninwak nimkakan. Moving on to our, I think this is our last one now. So if the men did not fetch the boxes. So really, we're just replacing pugdo with nod. All right, so let's take this last one up here. So your translation should be Gishbin ginad squa ninwak nimkakan. Gishbin ginad squa ninwak nimkakan. So notes on syncopation, that's our vowel dropping stuff. So most VTI 1 words will maintain their short A sound at the in their ending, an, un, during B form inflections, but keep an eye out for stress patterns that will require it to be dropped. For example, in the word translate it, akanot tun, versus if I do not translate it, gishbin akanot swan. So here we can see that the A has been dropped because of our, I believe it's our third last consonant rule or something. That S and W sound gets fused together to make it one. All right. So, in summary, B form phrases don't inherently make sense on their own because they are dependent clauses. They rely on further information. For the purposes of your learning, I will try to restrict B form inflections to the grammar patterns shared in this lesson. B form inflections are strictly suffixes for all verbs in Nishnaabemwin. There are no additional inanimate plural noun suffixes attached to our verb phrases. Just pluralize the pronoun and nouns as necessary. Tenses can also be used with B form inflections by attaching the appropriate prefix to the verb. B form inflections do not interfere with this because one is a prefix and the other is a suffix. VTI 1 and VTI 4 words have identical B form inflection patterns reminiscent of our VAI 2 and VAI 3 inflections. And VAI 2 and VAI 3 words have identical B form inflection patterns reminiscent of our VAI and VAIO inflections. Syncopation mostly appears throughout our VTI 3 B form inflections and sometimes with our VTI words that we took up with our syncopation notes. So misae nongam. That's it for today. And that's actually it for our unit. This is our last lesson in this unit. Covered a great deal of inanimate, intransitive stuff here. So here is our worksheet here. So this first one is multiple choice. Again, if you don't remember what this word is, or if you don't know it, you can always look it up in our dictionary. So jimnan. Jimnan. What does that mean? So jimnan means hold something or hold it. So that's B here. All right, pretty self-explanatory. I'll let you guys handle the rest. So now we have to rearrange these. I think these are rearrange and translate. That's why there's two lines here. All right, so we have mzinigan. That's a word for like box or something. Then we have a D sound, and it looks like it goes in between maybe a prefix and a verb. We have ka. Then we have our VTI 4 example, yan. Then a Z. So ka's are negative, and then Z's are a suffix. A G sound, and it's a prefix, because we've got that dash right there. And then a dash, and then a na, wa, and an I. So we got to start negative and end negative with our with our negative A forms. So ka. Let's see here. So this is a prefix, and then this goes in between. And you should remember that with yawn, when we put a G sound in front, there's D pops up, and then we go into our just give me a second. D and then our verb, and then the suffixes follow. So ka, then the prefix G, that's one of our singular pronoun prefixes. Gadayan, and then according to our verb phrases, the negative suffix comes next, Z, and then our plural pronoun suffix, na, wa. And then from there, all that's left is it and mzinigun. So it is a pronoun, mzinigun is our noun. So this one, ka gadayan zina wa mzinigun. This means you all do not have the book. All right. So if you're unsure of how to translate these or how to put these together, consult your notes from our negative A form lesson. So that would have been 2 lessons ago. All right. So I'll leave the rest of these for you guys to do on your own. Fill in the blank. So we got to match it to the English. We got gone blank, Bobby to seen blank. So, and our English is I'm not blank for the restaurant. I think that should say for the restaurant. So I'm not. So that's first person singular and negative. So we got our negatives here, but we don't have is our first person pronoun prefix singular, or sorry, which is an N sound. Remember, N is neen, which means I or me. So I'm not waiting for the restaurant. Oops. Sorry, I translated this. So Bobby tone means wait for it. So I'm not waiting. If you don't believe me, we can look it up right now. So Bobby tone means wait for it or something. Bobby tosin, it's negative. And the word for restaurant. If you don't know the word for restaurant, we can always look it up. Oops. Restaurant. So we sneogummic. Gone and Bobby tosin we sneogummic. It's pretty. So we've done fill in the blank before, and so this is just more of that. All right. So I'll leave the rest of these for you guys to do on your own. So make sure that the Ojibwe and English match. Look to both sides for hints. All right. So number 4. What word do we start with our negative A form sentences? Do B forms need that same initial word? So we covered that in our lesson. Let's see here. So right here. What type of VTI words use the negative suffix z and zine? So that's from our negative A form lesson. So consult your notes on negative A forms for this one here, and same with this one. For see and seen, which ones used those? There's 2. We have 4 types of VTI words, and 2 of them use z and seen. And then 2 others use see and seen. I believe it's VTI 1 and 4s, 2 and 3s over here. What's the difference between A form independent clauses and B form subordinate clauses? So one is a complete thought, the other is reliant on further information. Match the Ojibwe to the English grammar patterns. So we got before here. Which one's before? You can always look it up. Before is a preverb. It means, or Ojibwe. So we're looking for Ojibwe. That's B. Cross that out, and there we go. So again, we've done this before, and I'll leave the rest for you to fill in. All right, so we got number 9 here. Akanotan wasne ejagna shimian. So let's translate these into English. So we got guaan ejawab wabda squa gegitsi mak. All right, so guayan ejawabda squa gegitsi mak. All right, so first off, we gotta know what that word is. If you don't know it, see if it's in the dictionary. Cover it. So this is a command. We know it's a command because that A sound is a single A, and it's a VTI 1. And so when its ending has a single A, it's a command. So cover it. And then J, in our grammar patterns, that means to or so. So let's say it's so. Then we got wabda squa. There should be an N there, I think. Wabdun squa. Yeah, wabdun squa. So wabdun squa. Squa is our negative suffix, meaning they. So we're looking for wabdun. No. Here we go. Wabdun. C. So they don't see it. All right. So ge is our. Let's see what that is. Oh. So ge is an article for plural those. It's kind of like a pronoun. So gitsi muck. Let's see what that means. Gitzim. All right, so this is a word I should have incorporated into the dictionary. Gitzim means parent, but gitzimak means parents. So cover it. So I guess the parents don't see it. Cover it so parents don't see it. There we go. All right. So I'll leave the rest of these translations for you to do. Number 10, Akanota ne Nishnaabemwin. So translate these to Ojibwe. I wish I didn't see that. So our grammar pattern for I wish, that's a piggish. And then I didn't see that. So didn't, that's past tense. So we gi. And then our verb for see, well, we just looked that up. That's wab done. Wab done. And then we need our negative suffix for I and VTI ones. So VTI 1, and it's Zwan. And then Pegashki Wabdan Zwan, and then the word for that is either it's at the end. Pegashki Wabdan Zwan I. All right. So now I'll leave the rest of those translations for you guys to do. So make your own VTI B form inflections for each pronoun with your own VTI 1, 2, and 3, and VTI 1 and 2 and 3. So I did VTI 2 last time. I'll do a VTI 3 this time. So we're just adding the negative suffixes. I'll just throw a gishben on all these. Gishben, oops. Alright, so let's pick a VTI 3 to use. Alright, let's just use me, Jin. Alright, so let's consult our notes there for VTI 3s. And so with VTI 3s, we use the example na din. And so we're going to use the example me, Jin. And so from here, we can see that that in is grayed out. So we're going to replace it with our endings. So gishbin. Let's see here. Let's make this past tense. Gishbin gi. Gishbin gi. You know what? Make my life easier. Alright, so we have swan for first person. That's me. Swan. Oh, we should probably put in, I don't know. We're just going to go with food. The heck? To second person singulars. Oh, geez, I did one too many of these guys. Sorry. I'll hopefully catch that and fix it for you guys. All right. So I put me, Jin, in the negative B form for all 7 persons in Ojibwe. Now I'm just going to translate. So if I didn't eat the food, it's did not because it's past tense gi. So this one, gishben gimi chswan imijim. If you didn't eat the food, if the man didn't eat the food, because we got the nene. And this one is first person plural, we exclusive. So if we didn't eat the food, so this one's pretty much the same, except it's we inclusive. So I'm just going to put an all in there. We all didn't eat the food. This one is second person plural. So I'm going to change that we to a you. So if you all didn't eat the food. And last one. If the men didn't eat the food, because we're doing third person plural there. All right, so I just modeled all that for you, and that's it for the worksheet. So you guys have the rest of these to do on your own. And miigwech bisinduegmina. Misay aja, that's it for today. Thank you all for listening to me. And as always, I'm going to try and incorporate the dictionary into the. I'm going to try and post a link in the description that will allow you access to the dictionary, as well as links to access the PDF and or Microsoft files for the worksheet. Hopefully, I'll correct those before I upload that, and then I'll also upload audio links to access audio files for you guys to transcribe in Ojibwe and translate into English, and then that way you'll be working on your listening skills and your research skills. Aha, Palmapi.